8 minutes after the hour of 12 noon, Christmas Eve, Thursday, December the 24th, 1987. Welcome, welcome indeed to the Talk of Tampa Bay, WFLA. I'm Bob Lassiter with you until 4, as I am every day, Monday through Saturday. So this is the greatest day of the year. For most people, I guess it's Christmas Day. For me, it is Christmas Eve because Christmas Eve was always the big day in my household, in my family. I don't really have any recollections of my first Christmas, but somewhere tucked away in a box along with my christening outfit and my mother's wedding pictures and all of the important things in life is a picture of some pudgy little kid. Don't recognize him at all. He actually even has blonde hair and blue eyes. I have neither. And on the back of it, written in my mother's hand, it says, Bobby's first Christmas, and it must be true. And this pudgy little kid is sitting in a high chair in front of a Christmas tree at 128 Maple Avenue in Woodland, New Jersey. Small little town in between Camden and Collingswood, which is where my parents lived when they were first married. And he looks pretty damn happy about it, which I guess kind of set a tradition. The little Bobby always is pretty happy on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. I don't remember very much about Christmas until I was 4 years old. The year was 1949. The war was definitely over. Things were pretty much back to normal. And I was the only child in my family. Was the only grandchild. The only nephew. On my father's side, there was one aunt. On my mother's side, there were two aunts and an uncle. At that time, they were all in their early 20s, back from the war, working, weren't married themselves, and they spoiled the hell out of me. They lavished gifts beyond belief. And to this day, I remember Christmas 1949. We lived in a small 2-bedroom red brick house, a row house. My room was up back, upstairs in the back. It was a perfect little boy's room. There was wallpaper with pirates on it, digging up treasure on some island. And it was filled with all of the things that you would expect to find. There was a bed, of course, and there was a chest of drawers. They were painted blue. And over in the corner, there was a huge white wicker rocker. It used to belong to my mother's grandmother. And it was passed around from woman to woman so that the mother could sit there and rock her child. And that rocker was still in my room then. It since went on to other sisters, and I suppose now other cousins. Don't know really where it is, but I'm sure it's still in use. And I remember waking up, it must have been the crack of dawn. And I was a good kid. I did what I was told. And I was told, don't go downstairs no matter what until we, my mother and father, are awake. Well, they didn't want to get up. I don't blame them. They had been up late the night before, probably had only been in bed for an hour or two. But I was good. I didn't go downstairs. What I did is I laid down flat on my stomach and I peeked downstairs. My God, what a sight. Never seen anything like it before and frankly since. The living room, an average-sized living room, with a couch and 2 chairs and a television set and 2 end tables and a coffee table, was just filled. Absolutely cram-packed filled. Just one tiny little pathway to get from the front door to the dining room with toys. And over in the far right-hand corner was a tree. Oh my God, what a tree. It was filled with silver and red and green and blue and yellow and dancing lights, and it sparkled and was green and had the most gorgeous, beautiful ornaments I've ever seen. Each one a treasure. And underneath that tree was a miniature town. It was magic. It wasn't there the night before. But somehow, between the time I went to bed and the time I woke up, this room had filled with toys, this beautiful tree had sprung up, and this town with a train set going around and around and around. This little miniature town was put together with great care. It wasn't anything terribly spectacular, especially by today's standards. It was a Lionel train set with 4 or 5 cars in a Plasticville village. But my father had spread on the platform green grass, gravel roads, telephone poles that he had even gone to the trouble of stringing with thread, little cars, little people. My heart beat. Oh, did it beat. Literally could not wait to go downstairs. So I begged and I pleaded, and they said, all right, we'll get up and we'll go down with you. I didn't know what to look at first. I didn't know what to touch first. My father was a part-time musician. And so many of his friends, boys in the band, if you will, had gone out and purchased toys, toy instruments for whatever they played. Joe Vickery had bought me a set of drums. It was the first and only day I ever saw them. They somehow disappeared. I can't quite explain how. And there was a little toy violin and a little toy trumpet and a little toy accordion, and there were probably more. There were cars and trucks galore. There were games and other things. Pajamas, socks, that kind of stuff. And little footballs and little baseballs and little baseball gloves and everything that a child could ever want. There was a gas station, a little toy miniature gas station. That was probably my favorite. And after some moments of instruction, I was even allowed to operate the transformer so that I could make the train go round and round and round underneath the tree and through the tunnel and back out again and make the crossing gate close and open. It was a marvelous Christmas. Absolutely marvelous. From that point on, Christmas days were spent at home. Christmas Eves were spent at my grandmother's house. My grandmother lived in Camden, New Jersey, 928 Morton Street. I'll take you there in a little while. But that first Christmas that I can remember, it was something very special. The second Christmas that I remember was obviously the very next one. I was 5. And a tradition began that lasted really only a handful of years, although it seemed like an eternity. I met a new friend. His name was Santa Claus. My grandmother introduced me. I remember the day well. I was dressed up. My hair was combed. Had to be extra special clean. And I even had a special sweater that I wore only one day a year for the next 3 years. It was maroon and gray and had reindeer prancing on it. It was the sweater that I would wear to go to see my friend Santa Claus. The day would start very early with my mother taking me over to my grandmother's house for breakfast. And then my grandmother and I would get on the old public service bus and go into Philadelphia. We would go up to about 12